Raising the inner resilient optimist. Imagine a person who walks through difficulties as if the knowledge that everything will end well is built into them at the instinct level. A person who doesn't break, doesn't give up, doesn't slip into panic thinking, but instead switches on some kind of inner generator of light. This is not magic, not an inborn superpower, and not some sort of esoteric enlightenment. It is cultivated inner resilient optimism. But what is it exactly? And more importantly, can you grow such a person within yourself if right now you feel like the complete opposite? Anxious, tired, doubtful, inclined toward worst-case scenarios? Today we'll talk about it in depth, so deeply that you'll understand not only the psychological mechanics of optimism, but also how, step by step, a person capable of weathering any storm is formed. Chapter 1. An optimist is not someone who believes in pink clouds. Most people misunderstand optimism. The word often carries a naive connotation. Be optimistic, and everything will be fine. Think positive, and problems will disappear. But that approach doesn't work. That's precisely why many people roll their eyes when they hear optimist. They picture someone who ignores reality, pretends everything is fine while everything collapses, and just thinks positively as life spirals out of control. But resilient optimism is different. It is not denial of reality, but loyalty to the idea that reality can be changed. It's not blind faith, but psychological stability built on experience, thinking, strategy, and inner dialogue. A resilient optimist is a person who sees the problem and the solutions, notices difficulties but doesn't make them the center of the universe, doesn't suppress emotions but doesn't drown in them, doesn't mistake a fall for the end of the story. In simple terms, a resilient optimist is someone who knows they can handle it. And even if you don't feel that way now, you can cultivate this state. Chapter 2. Where does resilience come from? Psychologists call this trait resilience. It's not cheerfulness and not a good mood. Resilience is the ability to recover, adapt, and keep moving, even when things are hard. Research shows that resilience is built from several components. 1. Personal interpretation of events. It's not what happened, but how you explained it to yourself. One person says, "I was fired because I'm useless." Another says, "I was fired because a chapter ended, and now I must move to the next." Both feel pain, but the second keeps their ability to act. 2. The ability to regulate emotions. Optimists don't ignore fear or sadness. They work with them. They don't say, "I'm not scared." They say, "I'm scared, but I can handle it." 3. Memory of past successes. We often forget our victories, but they are the bricks of inner strength. 4. Social support. Strong people are not necessarily loners. They know how to lean on others. 5. Active stance. Optimists believe they can influence outcomes, and they act. Chapter 3. The main secret: optimism is a skill. Here's the key idea. Optimism is not a mood. Optimism is a strategy of thinking. You can genuinely train your brain to react differently, just like you can learn a new language, a new skill, a new way of moving. Because optimism is not believe in the best, but notice possibilities and remember your capability. Chapter 4. Where pessimism comes from. To raise an inner optimist, you must first understand why the mind gravitates toward dark scenarios. The human brain is designed to focus on the negative. Evolution solved it this way. Those who noticed danger survived. That's why the brain holds on to negative experiences 5 times stronger than positive ones. 10 compliments and 1 insult. You think about the insult. 20 successes and 1 failure. You think about the failure. This is not you being wrong. It's neurobiology. But the good news, the brain is trainable. We can redirect our attention. We can rewire reactions. We can build new neural pathways, more constructive ones. Chapter 5. How to raise a resilient optimist inside yourself. Now, the most important part: practice, concrete, scientifically grounded methods. Let's move step by step from thinking to emotions to habits. Part 1. Rebooting your thinking. Step 1. Catch your automatic thoughts. Pessimism is automatic. Optimism is intentional. When something goes wrong, the brain throws out its reflexive thoughts. This is the end. I can't handle it. There's something wrong with me. Catch it, write it down, acknowledge it. This is not truth. It's a reflex. Step 2. Ask the 3 questions that break the negative cycle. Whenever a dark thought appears, ask, is this a fact or my interpretation? Do I have evidence for the opposite? What would I tell a loved one who thought this way? Your answer to the 3rd question is the voice of your inner optimist. Step 3. Make negative thinking less global. Pessimism makes everything huge. One failure. I'm a failure. Optimism balances it. This is one episode, not the whole story. Name the situation specifically, not everything is terrible, but one specific problem needs solving. Step 4. Add a positive continuation to each negative thought and every dark scenario with, and even if that happens, I can still do this. This is not denying the problem. It's adding an alternative. Part 2. Working with emotions. Optimism is impossible without healthy emotional processing. Step 1. Allow yourself to feel. A resilient optimist is not someone who is always in a good mood. It's someone who can be in a bad mood without destroying themselves. Emotion isn't the problem. Getting stuck in it is. Step 2. Name the emotion to weaken it. This is called soft verbalization in psychology. Simple phrases like, I feel anxious, I'm upset, I'm hurt. Reduce emotional intensity on a physical level. Step 3. Use the 5 minutes of suffering rule. When a strong emotion hits, give yourself 5 minutes to feel it completely. No suppression. No pulling yourself together. Then switch to a physical activity: cleaning, walking, water, stretching, any movement. This teaches the brain to climb out of emotional holes. Part 3. Habits that build. Resilient optimism. Habit number 1. Micro-achievements. Do something small every day. A glass of water, 10 minutes of reading, a short walk, a tiny workout. It doesn't matter what. It matters that your brain receives this signal. I influence my life. Habit number 2. A journal of evidence that you cope. Every day write down one situation you endured, one decision you made, one thing you did even though it was hard. After a month, you'll see a different person in the mirror. Habit number 3. Contact with your future self. Psychologists show that people who perceive their future self as real are more motivated, stable, and confident. Ask yourself, what does my future self want me to do right now? This inner conversation becomes a compass. Habit number 4. Mindful consumption of information. The brain is an environment. If it lives in constant negativity, it produces negativity. Reduce the inflow of noise and fear, not completely, but thoughtfully. You have the right to protect your inner world. Habit number 5. Conscious environment. Optimism is contagious, and so is pessimism. Emotional states spread through behavior, facial expressions, tone of voice. If you're surrounded by people who constantly drag everything down, their energy will become yours. If you're surrounded by those who see possibilities, your worldview expands automatically. Part 4. Weathering life's storms. An optimist doesn't avoid adversity. An optimist knows how to move through it. When life becomes turbulent, a resilient optimist does 3 things. 1. Acknowledges reality. No wasting energy on denial. 2. Breaks the problem into segments. Big problems are made of small ones. Small ones can be solved. 3. Maintains connection with themselves. They don't abandon themselves in chaos. They remain their ally. Chapter 6. How to know your inner optimist is growing. You'll notice it gradually. You stop dramatizing automatically. You start noticing small wins. You recover faster after stress. You become calmer. You stop thinking in extremes. You start planning the future instead of fearing it. You feel like an active participant in your life. And most importantly, you begin to trust yourself. Chapter 7. Raising the inner optimist is not a sprint. It's a journey. It's long. It's non-linear. It's uneven. There will be days when you fall back into old patterns, moments when anxiety feels overwhelming, times when your hands drop to your sides. But that doesn't mean you're not growing. Growth is not the absence of setbacks. Growth is the ability to return to yourself again and again. Optimism is the path of small steps that build great people. Final. The optimist inside you never disappears. Sometimes they simply sleep. They don't die. They don't vanish. They don't break. They simply quiet down when there is too much noise, fear, or exhaustion inside. But once you begin speaking to yourself differently, gentler, clearer, more honestly, once you begin seeing possibilities, not only threats, your inner optimist rises, step by step, day by day, through small victories, through inner dialogue, through new perspectives. And one day you'll realize you're moving forward with completely different eyes. Eyes of a person who doesn't wait for guarantees, but creates them. Eyes of someone who knows, yes, life gets hard, but I can handle it. Because resilient optimism is not belief in the world, it is belief in yourself.